Okay. What's up, yardies, and welcome to King of the Wing. King of the Wing. Can't believe it's finally here. Today is the day, King of the Wing. And tonight's marquee matchup. We've got Skinface. We've got Skinface, aka Dr. Craven Hyde, former plastic surgeon turned wrestler, with his Botox bomb finishing move, versus Johnny Millennial and his figure of speech. Johnny Millennial and his figure of speech. You know, he's just, he loves that cancel culture. He'll get you. He avoids anything to do with cancellation. He's just perfect, absolutely perfect. Johnny Millennial does nothing wrong, so it's going to be a great matchup. Johnny Millennial versus Skinface. Okay, King of the Wing. The day is finally here. King of the Wing is finally here. Sponsored by our friends at Euro Flavor Factory. And as always, we couldn't have done this without Russell. So again, thanks to Russell for everything that he does around here. And he's going to have some new Sports Insider videos and images coming up, so keep your eyes peeled for those. King of the Wing. Very crazy time. It's going to be a great episode. Thanks for tuning in. And actually, we have a retort. We finally got a retort from Johnny Millennial. He finally responded to Skinface's taunts. And let's cut to that tort. John Tortorella now. And we finally got a retort from Johnny Millennial. All those taunting videos from Skinface, I guess, finally got to him, and he finally sent one in return. So let's check that out now.
I'm just reading my note here. No, I couldn't believe it when it came across my desk today. March 17th, Wet Nap Dome in Buffalo, New York. They said Skinface wants to come for the title. Skinface. You got Johnny Millennial versus Skinface? You're never going to get your groove back. You're never going to get that title, and you're never going to be at the top of the mountain because you're looking at the benchmark, the biggest thing going, and you want to call yourself the Spice King? You want a shot at the title? 17 years that sat around my waist. And I'll be damned if I'm going to let you come and take it from me. March 17th, and I'll tell you what, you think the figure four is bad, and we crank on the figure of speech and you stay woke for the rest of your life, you're going to know, brother. You ain't ready. That Johnny Millennial sent you there.
So without further ado, let's get to the match. Skinface versus Johnny Millennial. Only here at the Backyard Variety Tour.
The champ is here, everybody. You heard it. The champ is here. Let's do this.
Oh, no. No, Johnny Millennial. Not this time. Not this way.
You wanted it, Skinface? You got it. We're here now. Let's do this. King of the Wing.
King of the Wing.
Hey, Rep, are you doing any water or liquid?
Yeah, I've got some stuff here.
Blue Powerade?
No, I canceled on the Blue Powerade. I got, since we're doing King of the Wing, I thought Crown Royal would be fitting. So I got some Crown Royal, and I got some Coke. I don't know why. I just thought the burning might cancel out the burning, and because you know how like pop gives you that burning fizzy sensation sometimes. Okay, so we're here. We want to thank our friends at Euro Flavor Factory for sending the hot sauces today.
Yes,
that was huge. They came right on cue. We were like, oh, we really wanted to film this weekend. We're hoping they're going to get here. Fingers crossed. And yes, they came in and right on time. So that was great.
They literally came in at about 2:30 on Friday, yesterday. So it was pretty awesome. So we're here now. Let's do it.
And I love the packaging, the design and everything like that. Like they look like a lot of fun. The names.
Yeah, I like the uniformity of the bottle. So it's all the same bottle, but it's a different label. And the labels, the artwork that's gone into it, the graphics is just, it's second to none. It's great.
Yeah, yeah.
I think I noticed I didn't have this sauce the first time we did this for the Super Bowl.
Oh, you didn't
I
have life
actually
support, right?
No, that was the one, right? You
Right.
ordered it and we didn't have it. But what I do love is I love the labels on the top, man. I think that's really
noticed
cool.
those. I noticed those. Yeah, they're very cool. Okay. So here we are. We got our wings. We're gonna do our Boston theme movies. Shall we just start her off with life support?
Yeah, why don't we get started with life support and then we'll go from there. So we're all cracking these fresh. Awesome label.
Beauty, life support. Love the color. I've already tried this last time, but I actually just mentioned to you the bottle that I had opened from last time. I was dipping some pizza crust in the other night. And this is supposed to be one of the mildest ones, and for some reason my tongue was still on fire. So,
oh, I love it right off the bat. Curry, mustard, turmeric. I'm loving it. Smells good. Nice consistency too. Nice consistency as well too.
Okay, so we got a nice.
Oh, I doused mine by accident, but that's okay. All right.
Follow my guy around.
Yeah, I doused mine on the one side, but we're nothing wrong with that. This looks absolutely awesome. Okay.
Ready to go? I got my guy all sauced up.
Let's do it.
Cheers.
Go for it. Ooh.
Round one.
So good. That's real good. Good kick right off the bat, and then the sweet kind of carries it. I like it. Love it too. Nice and sweet. Those bell peppers really like brighten it up.
There's some ginger in here too.
Yeah, there must be.
Obviously the curry. Ooh, I get the burning. Love the burning around my lips. Enjoyable sensation.
I like it too because it's got that little bit of a blast, but it lingers. But you're not like I'm functioning, right?
Yeah, it's like not pain or anything. It's an enjoyable one.
No, it's absolutely delicious. I'm gonna go for another one.
I'm doing wing 2 right now. I got 2 wings for each round. I got a drum and a wing for each round.
All right. Yeah, I can do that. I mean, what I ordered said there were 14 wings, so I hope that's true. I was pretty hungry too, so I'm excited that I didn't really taste test the wings before because we were getting that. A little bit. I like it. A
little bit of sweat in the middle of my nose. I can already see it gleaming.
But it's gone, but the flavor's there, which is nice, right? The heat's gone, but the flavor's there, which is good. Like I feel like you could marinate in that. You could do a whole bunch of other things with it. Like it's a sauce, but it's also got so much other stuff, and I love it. I'm just reading the ingredients too. Mango pulp, so that's definitely where that sweet's coming from, which is great.
That's a bunch of stuff that I like. Mango, ginger, curry.
Right up my street.
The taste, the color.
Which I'm excited because one of the sauces on here, and when we get to it, is a Caribbean one. So I'm interested to see how this one also compares to like a Caribbean style kind of thing, because sort of similar ingredients, but definitely has a way different look, and you'll see it on screen when we do it.
And Flavor Factory is right. Like, I'm excited to try the rest of these because this one I know is very flavorful. Very flavorful. The flavor is strong.
It really is. But it's not overpowering. Like, I'm not like, oh, this has this in it, right? This is a blank way of a sauce. All I can taste is this. It tastes like this. Like, I taste honey. I taste ginger. I taste
diverse.
Curry. It is.
It can go on a lot of different things, not just wings.
Awesome.
It can mix with a lot of stuff.
Oh, I know. Absolutely. Right? Like I said, it could be used as a marinade, additive, sauce. Like, this could go on burgers, pizza, like tons of different things.
Moving on.
Love it. Let's move on. Let's do it.
Moving on to the Sauce Squatch. This one looks cool. I love the name.
Yeah, ginger, rosemary, and thyme. What an interesting combo for hot sauce too. Rosemary and thyme. You generally don't see like herb-forward hot sauces, but hey now.
I also decided I also decided that I went for the towel at first, but since I'm wearing the scrubs in between, I'm going to wash the wings away on the scrubs.
Well, when we get down to here, I think
it's going to be a nitty gritty battle to the end at King of the Wing.
Yeah, I mean, I'm trying to keep the trash talking to a minimum right now, but I also want to temper my expectations. So when I get to here, I'm not like literally against the ropes, like help.
Okay, so that was a good kickoff. And should we start our movies? Should we start our movies while we're talking about these?
1 sec before you start. I left my list in the kitchen.
Me too. I got to pull up my list.
Yeah, I'm ready to go. Are you? Hilarious. Okay. I'm like,
Neither of us are ready. Hilarious.
Yeah, I'm ready to go a bit early. Yeah, me too. Hold on, I just got to get this list. Us. Okay, so.
Okay, here we go.
Sasquatch.
Okay, so who's Sasquatch. What's up?
Ginger, boom, right off the bat. Hits you like, honestly, it smells like ginger ale almost, right off the bat. I'm not picking up the rosemary and the thyme like off the nose, but that might just be me. But
this is interesting.
It's an interesting sauce. The label's awesome too. I know you just showed the label. The label's hilarious.
Woo!
And it makes you think. Yeah, I'm drowning these in sauce, and it is because honestly, it's that good. All right.
I am sauced up. Extra.
I'm sauced. Saucy and ready to go. Right.
Here we go.
Number 2. Cheers.
Number 2, and after we dig in, let's start at our number 6.
Okay.
Do you want to start on your number 6 first?
You want to do that? Yeah, I can do that.
Okay.
You want to do it right now? Or eat and then? All right.
Cheers.
See? Rosemary, boom. It's the first thing I taste.
This one's interesting. I like this one.
This one's delicious.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't know about you. Maybe it's just because we're into it now and like the receptors are open. But like, I felt like Life Support was like, boom, right off the bat. And then this one's like, ease it in. But it's not that one tastes better than the other, but I definitely feel like this should have went like to the end.
First. Maybe first.
Yeah.
Although I feel a bit of it here.
Huh?
I feel a bit of it, but I think Life Support might have been a little bit hotter. But to be fair, they're rated exactly the same. So maybe if we looked into it a little bit deeper, we would have seen which actually was hotter.
Well, maybe I'll kick myself in the end for this, but maybe it just needs a bit more. I don't know. So I'm just going to mainline it here. It's just delicious.
It is delicious. It's thin. It's not as thick as the curry.
No, and that was one thing when it came out. It was like whoop, boom, and like dripped all the way out.
Yeah,
super good. Obviously, with the rosemary and the thyme, it's very herb flavor forward. But then the ginger kind of carries it. It's really good. It's also quite sweet as well too, which I didn't expect.
That's true. You can feel it all, sense it all there.
Yeah, I expected more savory, and I love actually on the back of the labels. I didn't even see this. There's recommendations for foods, so things that you should be eating it with.
Yeah,
which is cool.
And I love their socials too. Their socials tells you like what the ginger, what the rosemary for the different sauces, like what is going on with them, why they work, why it's coming out in that flavor, why it's good for that flavor. It's like health benefits. It's pretty cool. I like what they're doing with their socials now. They updated, they got some like more designs and stuff going. It's very cool.
Yep. I agreed. And you know what? It's one of the few websites where you get a whole breakdown of each sauce and tasting notes and ingredients and all that kind of thing. So, when you're getting it and you're eating it, then you can understand where it came from. So it's definitely cool. Their website is one of the most comprehensive websites I've seen for a business that you would consider to be newer and a startup, right? Like we've got 6 sauces, but I mean, they've got way more than that. So it's definitely cool. Now,
and it's pretty cool. I see a lot of their posts though. They go around to like farmers markets and stuff like that.
Yep.
And it's very grassroots. That's why it fits perfectly with this podcast, because it's very grassroots, but they're doing great and they're making awesome stuff.
That's the little guy helping the little guy, right? Absolutely. I'm going to say this right now, and I don't want to, I don't want to kick myself, but I'm feeling pretty good after Wing 2.
Oh, I haven't even kicked into Wing
2.
2, so let me hear your number 6 while I get into Wing 2.
Okay. Number 6 for me is Mystic River.
Yeah, it was in. It's in my ballpark. Okay,
so it was in my honorable mentions, and then I moved it in and moved one out, and I'll tell you, we'll talk about it after, but it's probably Eastwood's best movie of the 2000s, like of the new millennium, I guess, right? In his like directing ventures. And we talked about this in other movies, like Clint Eastwood, like can be way up here, like directing, and way down here. And he's all over the place, right? The Mule, right? Like it just didn't do it for me, but like Mystic River, and I guess it does help too with the acting. It's not Clint Eastwood acting in it, right? You've got Sean Penn, right? Sean Penn's your lead. So that kind of takes things forward. And it's so gritty in a time when there wasn't a lot of like, I guess you could call it film noir in a way, but there wasn't a lot of film noir going on in 2003, right? It was very funny. I just watched Old School today because it was on TV, right? It was very kind of crude comedies. The drama side of things was definitely a lot different than Mystic River, and it kind of stuck out in 03 for me. That's just me, but yeah, it's my number 6, and I think it's a strong number 6.
Here's what I think of Mystic River. Blah, what a rush. Mystic River didn't even make my cut. It's in the honorable mentions.
Skin Face is going wild.
Okay, my number 6. My number 6. This is going to knock everybody out of the park. I rented it last night off YouTube because you're never going to find this movie anywhere. Anywhere.
Did you go to Blockbuster?
That's where I first saw it. That's where I first saw it.
Okay.
Number 6, Celtic Pride.
Hey, honorable mention, right? Dan Aykroyd, Daniel Stern. I remember when I was a kid, I was like, all I wanted to do was see that movie. Like it looked so funny. I remember the trailers when we were kids, and then when I finally was able to rent it. Anyway, go ahead. I'm marking that off.
Yeah, you named it. Daniel Stern's facial expressions in this are wild. Dan Aykroyd plays very subtle. He plays things down. It's excellent. Written by Judd Apatow. Yes. One of his first. And Colin Quinn from Saturday Night Live.
Yeah, and he was still on SNL then. He was doing Weekend Update when that came out, I think.
Excellent Deion Sanders cameo at the end. Larry Bird's in it. Damon Wayans was like king of comedy back then around that time in the 90s. He was in every action or every comedy flick. It's pretty good. Now, the movie has a ton of plot holes. There's things that don't make sense, but it's about these two crazy, loyal Boston Celtics basketball fans who kidnap the best player on the opposite team because they want to win the championship. And they hold like hostage, but it's fumbly and bumbly, and I wasn't sure if I was going to put it on the list, but I was like, I want to watch it. So I watched it last night, and I'm like, this is going on the list. It's so funny. It's still so funny because it's so dark. It's very dark.
Well, it is like as a premise for a movie, right? For a comedy movie, it is pretty dark if you think about it, right? Like right off the hop. And then it's kind of like a caper from there on in, right? But it's almost, and is Judd Apatow is he a Boston guy or no?
I don't think so. I think they just tried to take the most biggest fan base because it would bring in tickets or something like that.
Interesting though that you would say that then he's not a Boston guy, so it's not like a love letter to Boston in a way or to the Celtics. But then also at the time, right, the Celtics were kind of like dwelling in the basement, right? It would have been the Bulls. You would have think they would have used the Bulls at the time to sort of elevate that, but I don't know.
I think it exemplifies the perfect Boston sports fan. Because if you look at Portnoy, honestly, when I was watching it, I'm like, this is Wit and RA from Spittin' Chicklets. They would kidnap a fucking guy for their bets to win or whatever. So,
it's kind of true though.
And that's how crazy dedicated Boston sports fans are. Yeah. That's what it's playing on, which is really funny.
That's what was I going to say? It is kind of an insane premise for a movie, but in some ways for me, I think when I rewatched it later from when I watched it the first time, I appreciated it way more. I don't think I got enough of it when I was younger. And then rewatching it probably about 15 years ago now, I haven't seen it for a long time, but I was like looking through all these movies and then what's on my like to watch along with Buffalo 66. So I apologize.
Still at the Buffalo 66. That's a callback to our loyal viewers.
I just can't find the time to do it. And since we are in Buffalo for this, I thought maybe I should watch it, and I didn't. So
At the Wet Nap Dome, and the fans are going nuts. Let me hear it.
That's a great segue. So should we do another movie, or do you want to do another movie?
Well, I should start with my 5. I'll start with my number 5.
Okay.
I'm going with Scott Cooper's Black Mass.
Ooh, okay. Honorable mention for me. Love it. But yeah, honorable mention.
I love it. I think they did great hair and makeup for Johnny Depp. He actually looks spooky in that. I think he did a pretty good job. I mean, they do kind of copy some things, like at the beginning when he's eating the nuts and he's like, don't eat the fucking nuts like that. And I'm like, okay, you're trying to be like extra mob tough, but there was enough other good stuff in there that I thought was really cool. It made it a good movie. Solid movie.
I would agree. I mean, that was what Mystic River bumped out, right? So I was like flipping between the two. But funny enough, I didn't think Black Mass deserved to be any higher on mine. I don't know. I got really excited for it because I was really into the Whitey Bulger story. Like, I'm into the Boston mob and it's mafia stories altogether, that whole kind of thing. So, when they finally, got Whitey in 2011, I was like, whoa, because, I won't ruin the surprise for later because I'm sure it's on both of our lists. But, when they finally got Whitey in 2011 and then this movie came out, I was so excited because, what are we going to learn that's new? What's the new revelation? And then it was just kind of like, okay. All right.
Well, here's my argument for it is that Scott Cooper, I think, is one of the best up-and-coming directors. Up-and-coming, I say he's already had like 3 massive movies, Black Mass, Hostiles, and then Something Heart with Jeff Bridges. He plays an old acoustic country star. It's actually a really good movie. Wild Heart.
Wild Heart, yeah. Wild Heart. That's a great movie.
But Scott Cooper's good, and I saw Hostiles at TIFF in the theater, and I was like, that wasn't that good. But once I go back and I watch it, I don't know. I'm a huge fan of his movies. They have rewatchability value to them. So I can go back and I can watch Black Mass and I can get a lot out of it, even if I don't think it's an amazing movie. That's kind of how I was judging. I don't think it's an amazing movie. I think it's good.
Yeah.
But I'm kind of judging on rewatchability value and what I can get out of these things. What 6 would I want to be on a desert island with, kind of thing. So there's a lot of depth in that movie.
Yeah. And I think too,
a lot of characters.
We'll kind of talk about this like as it's sort of a recurring theme where all Boston movies, even the comedy that you listed, has some sort of crime element to it, right? It just seems to be a city that's easily based. No, there is a lot of crime there. There's a lot of crime in New York City, but there's also a lot of movies in New York that aren't crime movies, right? In a way. So I don't know. It just seems to be synonymous with the two cities in a way. And I'm looking at my list, I'm going through it, and even my honorable mentions, I honestly, I think one of them doesn't involve some sort of serial crime.
Yeah.
In a way, but
it's true. I actually had a girlfriend one time who told me when she used to travel a lot and she visited Boston and she was walking across a bridge and there was like a big crowd looking over the bridge and there was a severed hand just floating up against the shore.
Oh,
Boston
excellent.
crime, baby. Boston crime.
Wow. I mean, I don't doubt that for a second, right? It's a pretty rough city. You have a lot. It's the same as New York, right? Yeah. It
doesn't really seem like the kind of story that you're going to go around bragging about. Making up and bragging about.
No,
I saw a hand.
Right? You don't go home at night and you're like, I made up a story.
What can I lie?
You don't feel good.
What will people believe?
I've done the hand thing already.
A toe.
Oh, there's a foot.
Toe.
A foot. Yeah. Okay, so a whole foot. A Bigfoot. Bigfoot's foot.
A Sasquatch.
A Sasquatch. Get it? Good one. Like it. I'll give you
What's
my
your number 5?
The Town.
The Town. I knew you loved The Town. The Town, I wanted to watch again. Everyone loves The Town. The Town to me is kind of a joke. I watch it to laugh. I get some things out of it. It's stretched so far. First of all, Jeremy Renner, I don't believe for a second. I don't believe Ben Affleck either as these Boston guys. Ben Affleck maybe in a different Boston movie, but not this one. Wow. No, and the whole tattoo on the neck, and these guys are the worst friggin' criminals in the world. Going around, they have these things that could easily get them caught, and they're just going around showcasing them, and I don't know. I hate it. I think it's hilarious. I watch it for a laugh.
Wow. See, and I saw it in the theater, and I don't know what it is, and I've had this discussion with other people too, but I find sometimes if I see a movie in the theater, I like it more than I would have if I saw it at home or on video. right? And maybe it's the experience, it's the whole thing and the whatever. But I like when I first saw this, it was just before I moved to England in 2010, and I was glued, like glued. I don't know if I moved the whole movie. I didn't eat much after the trailer, like maybe 10 minutes into the movie, I stopped eating. And once I stop eating or don't have to go to the bathroom, then I know it's a good sign, right? Like Triple X, there was 10 minutes left in it, and like I just couldn't hold it and had to go to the bathroom, right?
Yeah, if it's a good movie, you'll stay in your seat.
Right, that's the thing. So I just remember being stuck. I remember being glued there. Is it Ben Affleck's best movie? No. Is his best directorial movie? Maybe not. But I like it because of the pacing and
good action.
I bought in. I don't know, and I like a little bit of like, I don't know. And I guess now that you're thinking of,
to tell you the truth, I wanted to watch it before this and write down all the things I hated about it. I just didn't have time. There's too much going on.
Yeah,
I'm juggling 3 different 800 different episodes.
Wow, and you're probably going through your like 300th screening of Buffalo 66. So I mean, it's not. But you know what? Pacing to me, it just the movie kept going. The thing that really got me was I hated the sort of like. There's always the love story that gets intertwined, like something's pulling them in this direction, and you're just like, I've seen that 800 times. Like, just get back to the whole element thing. Like
he goes to the laundromat. What's he hanging out at a laundromat with no clothes or something, striking up conversation? There's just something like that. And things.
And I think too, what does me in with it and why I didn't put it higher, the crime element and the story and the whole like the heist, how everything gets put together and how it's tied up in the end is great. And I guess you kind of need that push-pull factor. So there's that external conflict and like on top of his internal conflict in the gang and all that kind of stuff. But, you know, I still love it. I love the pacing. I don't
It's
lose
entertaining.
It, right?
It's entertaining. I also don't really like John Hamm that much, and he's like the bad guy.
Yeah, you mentioned that a couple days ago, and I don't get it. I don't get it.
He's garbage. I hate him.
He's not, but that's another
the only time he was good was when he was in Curb, and he played himself, I think, and I loved him in that. I was like, oh, he actually finally did a good job in something. I know people are going to be like, Madman, whatever. I don't like him.
No, I'm out on Mad Men. Like he does a better job in the Skip the Dishes commercials than he did on the entire series of Mad Men. What do you want? Number 3,
Caribbean Queen.
Caribbean Affair.
Caribbean Queen.
Billy Ocean.
Caribbean Affair.
Yeah. Again, I'm gonna take. I didn't smell it first, but I think give me.
I really like the flavor. Ooh.
I'm getting
that's
like
a quick kick.
I'm getting nutmeg and cinnamon. Boom.
Cinnamon. This one kicks you. It kicked me good right off the bat.
Yeah. Well, let's go.
Yeah, give me a shot there.
Oh man, that's good.
Yeah, it's so flavorful. It's really tasty. I really like this one. You could taste the cinnamon. Once you said that, I was like, yes, that's what I'm getting.
That's good. Now, I just want to see if it's Scotch bonnet peppers. Chipotle. All right, that makes sense. Chipotle gets the smoky going. I like it. The smoky kind of complements the cinnamon. I find cinnamon, nutmeg, and those kind of barks essentially have that kind of smoky flavor to them.
Yeah, a little bark.
That's a good
bite.
sauce, man.
That one's really good. Caribbean Affair. And it's almost like I'm new to this stuff. Taste it. It's not like I'm a sauce connoisseur, but once you say the things, I can taste them. Once you were like smoky, I was like, yes, I get it. I can taste it, you know?
Like it.
Getting hotter.
Hey, now, while we're doing this, do you have any strategies for eating wing flats?
No, I just go side to side and then push out the middle.
You do, eh? Okay.
Yeah.
Rob
I'm not
Amadio
a breaker or nothing.
No, Rob Amadio showed me this on when he after he came back from out west, he met a guy who was in wing eating competitions. And then we were out, I think we were out at Misty's. And he said to me, here, I'm going to show you how to eat this wing. And essentially what you do is you find where the two bones meet on the wider side of your flat. And then what you do is you put your middle finger or index finger and your thumb in between those bones. Push all the way down. So you push all the way down with your fingers. You end up with this.
Oh, I see. Okay.
End up with nothing.
That's pretty good.
Caribbean Affair. I'm going to eat the rest of my finger because it's that good.
This one's very good. Very flavorful.
Super sweet too. Like super sweet.
Okay, what are we on?
I love it.
Am I on number?
It is my number 4, I think.
Yeah, go ahead. Number 4.
My number 4. Gone Baby Gone. Again, we're kind of sticking in the Affleck world here, but it's hard not to when you're talking Boston movies. But obviously Casey Affleck, right? Again, we're talking back-to-back Ben Affleck directed movies. I think this is his pinnacle, is Gone Baby Gone. I think that's Ben Affleck's best directed movie, just me.
I think I would agree with you on that, because I have seen the other ones like Live by Night and what was the first one? The Town. So, and Gone Baby Gone, I think, is his strongest flick. Yep. Casey Affleck's good in it. Ed Harris is really good in it. Morgan Freeman, the story. Holy shit, Skinface is getting messy here now.
Well, that's okay. Battle wounds. But I think, honestly, that this movie, like cast-wise, and I think it's what Ben Affleck needs, is he needs a really good cast. And I don't know, like when I watch the movie, I can't see Casey Affleck like not being in the movie. You know what I mean? Like
he's good in it. Trippy ending too.
Yeah. It's one of those ones that just sticks with you, and you kind of finish the movie, and you're like, oh, all right. How am I going to finish the rest of my day? Like it's definitely, it's a heavy movie. Let's say that. It's probably heavier. It's actually probably the heaviest movie, content-wise in my whole list, I would say. And like, you know, as a psychological movie for me, but that's debatable as well too. But yeah, strong movie, good cast. I don't know if I've seen a bad Ed Harris movie. I don't think
I love Ed Harris. He's good in so much. He's even good in Appaloosa, which is I don't know if it's him who directed it or Vigo, but they're both good in that. It's like a slow, shitty movie. So I think I laugh at the part when Michelle Monaghan jumps in the water there or something like that. And she is the quintessential Boston casting. She gets cast in everything Boston.
Well, she was in The Town too, wasn't she?
Was she?
I think so. Well,
I know she's in. I just saw her. I'm like, this girl's in everything Boston.
I could. No, she wasn't.
Not The Town, but she was in another Boston movie.
But she is that quintessential like Boston person. I don't know. Okay. I'm interested to see what your number 4 is, because we usually might have some crossover, but we haven't had any. So
no, the ones you've been mentioning are in my honorable mentions though, so they were in the ballpark and they were considered.
And vice versa. all the ones that you've mentioned have been in my honorable. So this is good. I like this. Number 4.
Number 4, The Social Network.
Wow.
Started at Harvard. Takes place there for almost half the movie.
Yep.
That's
interesting.
That's my number 4. I think there's a lot of people out there, Quentin Tarantino, one of them, saying that it's the best movie in the past like 10 years from 2010 to 2020. And I would agree. And it might even be one of the best from 2000 to 2010, because you know how much I love 99. So I wouldn't include that. But
good point.
There's it's such a strong movie. It's just I can go back and I can watch it over and over, and it's quite flawless.
Hard to find a movie that's good and that topical as well, right? Like topical meaning it's top of mind for us.
Yeah, like it was way better than The Post.
Yeah,
you know.
True. I agree. No, it's a good movie. I haven't seen it for a long time either. I don't know if I saw it from when it first came out. It's been a long time, but I don't know. Something about what's the main actor's name? I can never remember his name.
Yeah, I'm not always a huge fan of him, but I thought that this was like the one role that was like so perfect.
I think so. I kind of call him like Michael Cera light. Like I don't know, and then that comparison.
But to tell you the truth, he's probably considered a more dramatic actor than Michael Cera.
I would say so, but you know, in the same vein of kind of like goofy, awkward, you know, lanky kind of person, like similar kind of person. What is his name? Anyway.
Oh, I know his name, Jesse Eisenberg. But there's like Jesse Eisenberg, Thomas Middleditch, and Michael Cera. They're all kind of in the same realm. But I would say Eisenberg is considered the most bankable out of those guys.
True.
He gets the biggest movies, but I think Andrew Garfield is super underrated in that movie. I think he's great. I think Justin Timberlake holds his own, even though I don't think he really did anything game changing, but I think he holds his own in a strong movie, which would be hard to do.
Yeah. He honestly is a surprising, like, I quite like Alpha Dog. I don't know about you, but I didn't mind it. It was kind of cool. That movie. Yeah. But, you know, then he does The Love Guru, and it's like, okay.
Yeah. Well, yeah. some things
that
are
whole
for
movie's just-
I'm sure some things are for paychecks and some things are for, you
Do
know,
you
you want to crack your chops or whatever. But there's only one real downside to The Social Network that I find when I watch it, and it's about halfway through once they move from Boston to LA. And they're swimming in the back pool or something, and their chimney breaks because they're like hang gliding into the pool from the chimney.
Right.
And they get a doorbell ring, and they open the door, and JT's like, "Oh my God, it's you guys who live here? I live across the street. What are the odds?" I was like, "What?"
Yeah.
I was like, "This is the worst like quick writing fix of like needing to combine two worlds and try and make it plausible," which it is not. That's really the only downside I could find in the movie, because the rest of it is like, it's a mix of a courtroom and legal and also all the social media stuff, but also just people, how he's just also a horrible person and stuff. So I think it's good.
Yeah, that's a good movie. And you know what? I'm going to put it, I wrote it down, and I put a box around it as well too, because I really want to go back and rewatch it, because it's been 10 years, right? I think I watched it in like 2011. So
yeah,
it's been 10
and that's
years.
right when it came out.
It's worth a rewatch for sure.
It definitely is.
Nice surprise.
Okay, moving on.
Didn't even think about that movie. Didn't even cross my mind.
Well, I'll tell you, there was one. I'll give you one, because it's a throwaway honorable mention that I know neither of us is going to have, because it doesn't even really count. But I almost threw in Blow, because his name is Boston George and he grows up in Boston. Now I know it doesn't all, and he revisits Boston a couple times to see his parents.
He does. I
was like, you know what? This could be considered Boston movie.
Yeah, true. I mean, like on my honorables, I also have like Happy Gilmore.
I also have that as well.
It doesn't really have much to do with Boston, other than the fact that he wears a Bruins jersey like all the time.
The whole time. No, I did a video. In my video, I mentioned his dad gets killed at a Bruins game. It doesn't get more Boston than that. His dad takes a puck to the head at the beginning of the movie that sets the whole thing off.
And they mentioned Terry O'Reilly, but they never mention the Bruins in a way, right? Which is funny.
Do you ever see the jerseys? You see the jerseys, maybe?
You see the Bruins jerseys, but I don't even think you see them at the hockey game.
Yeah, at the beginning during the 16 millimeter film,
they're filming the hockey jerseys.
Oh, I don't know if you see the jerseys. You got to see something, because you see a guy wind up for a slap shot and then the.
Well, you know what's at a hockey game. Watch it again. I don't think you see the jerseys ever, because I always wanted to see, did they get an actual Terry O'Reilly jersey? But
well, I don't know about the Terry, but they're gonna have. They at least like, I don't know why you wouldn't show the jerseys, because you already got clearance for it for Happy to wear the whole time. So I don't know. But okay. But yeah, those are two, you know, I was trying to look for some different sleeper ones that I was like, is this a Boston movie? What's really a Boston movie? What can I do here?
Same. So yeah.
Now I think we're getting a bit more interesting here. Maybe some more danger flavor, I think, coming up. Some hotter.
K9 Unit.
K9 Unit seems a little crazy.
It looks had to be a little bit more.
Look at the sauce in that light. That's just a nice color of sauce there.
Oh yeah,
garlic, ginger.
You're like, that's a hot sauce color, right? Like,
yeah.
Oh yeah, boom, garlic and ginger right off the bat. It smells like pasta sauce, almost like good.
That's
sauce.
what it looks like, yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah, this one smells pretty. It could be hot.
Well, and you know what? The third
comes out fast.
Third ingredient is tomatoes, right? So you get tomatoes and bell pepper. Whoa. Yeah, you weren't kidding. I was like, yeah, all right there, Pozz.
She's a thin one.
I like it.
She's a thin one. All right. Yeah, this one's going to get extra I know how you kids like them extra saucy for you.
Pozz, you're scaring us.
You mentioned a Matteo. Actually, I'm organizing. I'm trying to get a Matteo on once a couple of these things. Once King of the Wing is done. And once Sports Insider's done, and then hopefully we're going to get Matteo on. Just so everyone knows, Matteo does, what do you call it, carving?
Yeah, wood carving with a chainsaw. It is...
Chainsaw carving.
Unreal.
It is incredible. He's so talented, so super excited to get him on.
Yeah, that'll be awesome.
Happening in the next couple of weeks.
Woohoo! All right, K9 Unit, let's go.
K9 Cheers. Oh, I'm sauced up. This looks like a chicken ball or something with how saucy it is.
Oh, man. That's so good.
Mm-hmm. Is it my number 3?
Yes. Ooh. See, I was sleeping on this one. I was like, yeah, and then start to take some of the air in. I'm like, I'm not gonna lie.
Just a second.
I'm not gonna lie. So far, K9 Unit's been my favorite one.
Well, I'm still experiencing. I'm halfway through. I'm just dunking the second one before I talk about my number 3 movie.
Okay.
I think Caribbean Affair is my favorite still right now.
Interesting.
Caribbean Affair is still my favorite, but
I think I might actually like to mix a few of these. I'm not gonna lie.
okay, my number 3. I have an instinct that our number 3s are actually going to be the same. Could be wrong. My number 3 is The Departed.
Oh, mine too.
I knew it. How did I know that? I knew it. I knew it was going to be. That's why I said
Yep.
it. I knew it.
Yep.
Okay, so let's talk about The Departed.
Oh yeah, I guess they're both the same, right? Our number 3s are the same, but this came out just in time, I think, for Oscar season in 06. Just in time. Like, I want to say it came out like November 06. October, November, something like that. It was very, very, very late. And I remember being really excited to see it. I wanted to see it before the Oscars came out. I'm like, it might, don't quote me here, but you'll probably quote me. I think it's Scorsese's second best movie. For me. There's a couple things
That'd
in the
be
plot.
tough to consider. That'd be tough to consider. I don't know. He's got so many great movies.
I know. This is what I'm saying. Don't quote me. But
Well, what
on
do you
any
think his
given-
first is? His best is?
Oh, good. My good fellas. Like, come on.
But what about Cape Fear? What about... Here's an honorable mention that you probably don't have. Shutter Island is a Boston movie. Did you have it?
I got it on there.
I wasn't sure. It's cutting it close, but I also think that's a really strong movie. Not one of his best, but I think it could potentially be at the Raging Bull.
It's a strong
Well, it's
movie,
debatable.
but I mean, I put Shutter Island in the same category as I do with The Aviator.
I think you could be right that it could be his second best film. I think not only is it widely accessible that like everyone could enjoy it, but also like the deep movie heads and mob heads will also really enjoy it too. Like that's why it won Best Picture, is because even blue collar film and TV people could love it, not just the deep heads.
It ticks all the boxes, right? It ticks all the Boston crime stuff that people love. It still kind of reads and moves like a New York mob story, but I actually find it to be a lot like, I don't know what the polite term is, but it feels like it's a lot tougher to me. The movie feels tougher, right? It feels grittier. It feels more like there's something else there. There's another element there that could go at any given time. You know what I mean? And that's why I love it. I mean, Jack Nicholson is unreal in that movie. Like his portrayal of basically, and we'll go back to Black Mass, it was all based off Whitey Bulger, right?
Whitey Bulger,
but
yeah.
Whitey Bulger was still, being sought by the FBI. He was still on the most wanted list, right? Spoiler alert. But, that whole thing, that whole basis of Whitey Bulger for that movie and bringing that element into it, like, I think he played Whitey Bulger better than Johnny Depp.
Yeah.
In terms of, like you said,
I would agree. He didn't look like him as much, which is not. That's half the battle. That's half what I care about or whatever. But
I
it was
think
a better interpretation.
I think Scorsese was smart going to not make it into a Whitey Bulger movie, because then people would associate it with, it had to be true to Whitey Bulger and this and that, where they could just say, well, it was the inspiration, so like make Nicholson put on a sweater, Jack, right? Like it didn't
One
matter.
thing I just want to say, one thing I do that I didn't say earlier about Black Mass that I do love is the gunshots are very impactful, because people aren't dying all the time. So when someone does die, maybe 5 times during the movie, it's like very surprising or impactful. You feel it,
I agree, and I still like Black Mass. Don't get me wrong; like it's still in my it made the top 10, right, or my top 12 like Boston movies. But for me, what was I gonna say? I think
K9 Unit lingers here a bit, eh? K9 Unit's a little bit hot. It lingers. It's enjoyable, but
I'm not gonna lie.
It's one that kind of brought me a different heat level because I'm sweating a bit actually now, a bit more.
Yeah.
So it's stepping it up just a bit.
I'm not gonna lie, on none of them touch me, but like my nose is running.
Look at my sweat is building a little bit around my nose and forehead.
I'm functioning and it's not super hot, but it's hit me in some other way where like all of a sudden I'm like, oh, my nose is like starting to go really bad here. Mm-hmm. It's delicious though, and again, it's a lot of these sauces. I'm like, it's lip central, like
it is. Over, it's like, very
I feel.
But again, the flavor is so strong. The flavor is so strong in each of them and so diverse. Everyone is so different.
True.
The Departed's based on Internal Affairs, a movie, an international movie. Everyone knows that. But what are some favorite scenes in The Departed? I mean, when Leo makes out with that girl and Comfortably Numb plays, that's a very iconic and just a huge song. I love Kevin Corrigan.
Wahlberg and Alec Baldwin.
Wahlberg's normally kind of shit, right? Let's be honest. He's normally kind of shit. He does these big blockbuster movies that aren't great. Sure, he does Patriots Day and some other Boston things that are like, oh, you're like, okay, whatever. I can watch this stuff and it's entertaining. You turn your mind off, whatever. It's fine. But this is one where he's actually good. He's actually good.
Yeah. Well, and it's funny too. Another honorable mention is another Mark Wahlberg movie, and that's Fighter. I love The Fighter with Christian Bale.
In my honorable mentions as well.
Good movie.
And great Mark Wahlberg tight little finish at the end of Departed.
Yes.
Interesting.
It's awesome, right? With the rap going by, like it's
the awesome. The sneakers, the covers over his sneakers, the tracksuit.
Yep. What killed me though? Does he have his hair covered? He does.
I think he does something with his hair.
And he takes the hood.
Oh, he's wearing a wig, and it's kind of. Isn't it a wig? But it kind of looks exactly the same as his real hair.
No, it's the same hair, but I think he had like the same that you would have like a hazmat suit of like one of the like with the string and the hood.
Right.
But he took it off, and you're like, you wouldn't do that. You wouldn't do that in a way. Right. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. Can I go back to Black Mass again? I'm gonna say something. Joel Edgerton is unreal in that movie.
He's good, yeah. I like him, man. He's a good actor. I like the stuff that he does.
He's believable in every role. He's kind of like Ray Liotta. Like just plug him in somewhere and he'll knock it out of the park, right? Like Ray, you're a grizzled 1960s truck driver and you have a limp. Yeah, okay.
I love Edgerton in Zero Dark 30. It was in one of my top 10 female. He's only in it for half an hour or whatever, but they're great.
Doesn't matter. But yeah, The Departed. It's funny. Now, will our number 2 and 1 be the same?
No, they're gonna. Oh well, one of them might be, but our other one, my number 2, I got one that I don't know if you've heard of.
Okay.
So, Departed. I love Jack Nicholson's buddy in it.
Oh,
Frenchie.
Yeah.
Great. That guy's got some of the quick cutaways and stories and stuff they tell, and like there's so many iconic moments in that movie. Yeah. So many. Well, I remember almost every scene.
Oh, I'm thinking about it right now. That scene, when it really kind of amps up, is when they sort of re-break his arm. That whole scene is just like, whoa. Like, because you kind of you're like, all right, you're the boss and you're the bad guy. And like, I don't know. And then all of a sudden it just gets like cranked up to 11 and you're like, whoa. This took off fast, you know? Yeah. Just that whole scene in the bar, that grisly scene. And then it just stops. Right? There's that, it shows that like on off switch that those kind of guys have, right? Where it's just like
Queenin'.
Up here and down, right?
When Queenin' happens midway through the movie or whatever it is, that was like a game changer in cinema for me. Like you hadn't seen something like that in so long.
No. And I like the scene with the elevator too, that whole standoff with Damon. And you're like, okay, like this is it. Wow. Like, I can't believe that. Oh,
the phone.
It's just, you're like, whoa, okay. Right. So you know that feeling when you're like, well, the movie's done. This has been great. Like, I'm good. And, you know, I'm actually happy with this resolution and I'm interested to see how they wrap it up. And then you're like, there's probably another half an hour of movie on top of this. Cause like you just blew the whole movie. Everything you knew about the previous 2 hours is just gone for that last half hour. And you're like, whoa, okay. All right.
And pretty bold move. I mean, I don't think many people do that to Leo in Leo movies. Don't think that happens. So that's pretty bold and shocking. I would say I don't think anybody expected that. Great ending.
No, awesome movie, man. I just love it. I honestly kind of want to rewatch it again because it's been a good 10 years for me on The
Honestly,
Departed.
for some reason, I get feelings to watch it because it came out around the fall and I saw it in the fall. And there's something special about these fall movies. We've talked about it before. The leaves changing. It's like the back to school feeling. It feels like change is in the air. Like the change of the next year is about to be in the air or something.
But also, man, like, and not many people are Dropkick Murphys fan, but I'm a huge Dropkick fan. And Shipping Up to Boston is in that movie, right? That initial scene when they send Leo
and
into
I'm
the prison.
so sick of that song, but that's one movie I will be very forgiving because they use it so well and it just makes the movie better.
Oh, I made it pop, right? You were like, whoa, because it's so loud. You're like, whoa.
Don't they use it again when they're driving on the highway at night at one point and they're trying to like lose a tail on the way to that?
I believe it comes up at another point, but you know, good for Dropkick. I mean, that was their biggest song. Like they're a big band, but
that's a great intro. That's a great intro too. Cutting through, telling that whole story. And
I like that, you know, Scorsese was using like authentically Boston things and Boston people, right? So it's awesome. Love it.
A very interesting thing he did just before we move on, the black circle and zooming out of the black circle a couple times in that movie. It's a blank screen with just a circle focused on Matt Damon, and then it expands. Trippy, he makes interesting decisions that you would not normally see in big budget Hollywood movies.
No, and I found too, it's one of the only movies where you see a lot of Scorsese camera movements. Like you don't usually see a lot of like track shots and like handy cam, like movement shots like that. Like generally speaking, like it's like stationary camera, like 1, 2, 3. I don't know how it would be laid out, but it's definitely like, think of Goodfellas and like how many shots are just like and the
I know what you're talking about. When Leo is following Damon after the movie theater and he ends up seeing him in reflections of stuff, there's a lot of different kind of styled shots there.
Lots of different shots, but even like the standoff at the end, like when they're on the roof, like how that played out with Martin Sheen falling off and how that was shot and all that kind of thing. Like you didn't see a lot of that.
Well, they took the sound away. Yes. That was the thing for Queenan, is when you kind of lose track of what's happening and then they take the sound away and it's just his body. Now we're giving it all away. Who hasn't seen The Departed? But like,
too bad.
Yeah.
Too bad.
We could go on about this. I'm going to actually watch The Departed after this.
I might actually stick it on because you know what? It's one of the Scorsese movies. Gangs of New York is on TV all the time. Taxi Driver's on all the time. Goodfellas is on all the time. And they'll show like Catch Me If You Can and The Aviator.
Well, Departed is very racist as well, right? Not necessarily intentionally, but it's dealing with like 70. Like it starts off with Nicholson, all the riots in the streets between the blacks and the Irish. He's like, you're not a product of your environment. Your environment. What does he say? I forgot, but whatever.
I can't remember. But there is definitely a lot. Like it's a lot. There's a lot more racist like overtones in The Departed than there are other movies as well too. So I'm unboxing movies that I want to see again.
Okay, where are we? We went on
Canine Bite.
Yeah. And
Canine Bite.
What, number 2? Is it you?
Yeah. Well, yeah, technically because we were both The Departed. My number 2 is Boondock. Boondock Saints.
Boondock. It's in my honorable mention. I really wanted to.
I think that's crazy that it's in your honorable mention.
I know. Well, there was like the reason why I put Celtic Pride as number 6 is because there was about 5 or 6 other movies that probably could have taken number 6, and I couldn't decide between those. And one of them was The Boondock Saints. It impacted me so much. I still remember almost every line from the movie and can quote every line from the movie. I can quote every scene. It was shot in Toronto as Boston. I mean, they did shoot some stuff in Boston, but the characters in it, the story, it blew my mind. And it was one of the best, and still to this day, is one of the best represented mob movies I've seen. Even though the mob is not in it a ton, I feel like they represent the mob authentically in that movie. With Carlo the boss, with Ron Jeremy the underboss, and just the way they do it. I was like, this feels authentic to me. The Russians, like everything kind of felt real.
Yeah, it was. Well, I mean, the fact that it was an indie too. Troy Duffy like wrote and directed it, right? So he was able to kind of see it through in the way that he wanted to see it, in the way that he wanted it. He had the vision for the movie, right? What I always loved about the movie is that this sauce smells great.
Now it smells kind of similar. It just to this one because they're canine, but I just want to see if I can really tell a little bit. Ooh, this one smells spicier, even though I know it's less heat. But it smells spicier.
Now the only thing that's different.
This one smells a deeper spice, maybe.
Well, the only thing that's going to be different with this one, and I can tell color-wise, and my buddy Steve Nelly, I mentioned the other one grew Carolina Reapers for me. There are Carolina Reapers in this sauce. So this one's definitely going to have a little bit more of a kick. This one's going to be hot. But yeah, Boondock to me, when I saw it, it's funny. It's one of the few movies, well, not one of the few movies, but it's one of the movies that I saw before I met you. And then when we started talking about movies, we were like, I've seen this one. And we were both like, yeah, right? It's awesome. It's just an awesome movie. It got super popular by word of mouth, right? Wasn't a big box office draw, wasn't anything, all word of mouth. And so much so that they made a sequel like 10 years later.
And the sequel was horrible.
You know what? It had
awful.
Rob Wells from Trailer Park Boys in it, so I was pretty excited about that, but it was bad.
It was bad, man.
Bad. Still, honestly, one of my favorite Boston movies, but probably in my top 25 movies for me, all time.
So much iconic stuff when they're wrapped up in the vents and they fall down the vents, they're tied up. Great story stuff. That Russian guy when he's yelling, I don't know what the hell that guy's yelling, but that stuff just seemed intense and real. Like all those bums are sitting around just like listening to this guy in the middle of the fat man, they call him, and he's just like, he's just screaming, like it's just intense.
It's so good. The acting
and
is
then
good,
Billy Connolly and like all the characters, Rocco and Willem Dafoe.
I love Billy Connolly. Like Billy Connolly as an actor and a comedian, like Willem Dafoe, like it's awesome. It's so good. And I always wonder how they get big Hollywood actors for stuff like this, right? You're like, how did you get? I don't know.
The script is good. People usually want to do a good script, and that was the thing about this movie is that the script was going around Hollywood, and it sucks to say it, but Harvey Weinstein and his brother had really good taste in movies, not in etiquette. Harvey obviously didn't have it in etiquette, but they obviously had really good taste in movies or what was a marketable and like big seller or a good movie.
Yeah.
Like, they'd made tons. Now, it had some wild stuff that I had never seen in a movie before, like when they dumped the toilet off the roof onto that guy's head. And
I was just going to say that.
Just some crazy things that I just hadn't seen done before. I think that's really groundbreaking. And I've been to the Lakeview Diner a billion times where Rocco shoots the bartender and stuff like that. It's so good. We got our funny man back. And me and you used to quote all that stuff at the end. I'm about to get busy. Oh, I'm about to get busy.
I'm ready to get busy.
Or what do all those people say? They're like, I'm here, I'm waiting. Let's go, keep going, keep fighting.
Yeah, I want to say Anthony Kiedis is in the credits.
No comment. No comment, please.
No comment.
No comment.
He has like a backwards hat on in it. Like it's just it's an awesome movie.
Do you hear what you're saying right now, man? Do you hear what you're saying? The one guy who pushes his friend aside.
Oh, when he's like,
listen to yourself.
Listen to yourself, man.
Kill him for good.
It's like the head movement, like kill it for good. Listen to yourself, man. And you're like, okay, stop that.
It's a good line when they're like, not for how far are we going to take this, not for how far, but how. What does he say? Or what's the line?
It's not a matter of how far. It's do you possess the Constitution to go as far as necessary? Billy, love it.
Intense.
Well, you're number 2. Let's go.
My number 2 is a 70s movie called The Friends of Eddie Coyle, a Boston crime movie. You ever heard of it?
I don't think I've ever heard of that.
It's with Robert Mitchum. I found it years ago in a deep dive. It's got one of the best. He actually goes to a Boston game. They're going to whack him at a Boston game, actually. It's really cool. They take him to a Boston game pretending to be his friend, and they're going to kill him afterwards or whatever. But because he's just like a low-level blue collar. He's just wearing like a members-only track jacket, kind of very low level. Yeah. You know,
well,
so that's what I love.
This must have been at the end of like Robert Mitchum's career. He was like tough guy, like Western 40s, 50s, 60s kind of guy, wasn't he?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
When he was younger, and in this, he's like a broken down 55-year-old, which is like his actual age at the time. But a lot of these mobsters, you could spend your life like John Gotti and these guys. They had rules where like you don't pay the associates in the tracksuits working for you. You keep them hungry, so they would give them like $600 a week. Or something like that. And that's why these guys would have to have all their own schemes on the side that would sometimes get them into trouble or get them killed or whatever, you know? Because they're scraping by. It's like, why would you choose, if you're not going to be lucky enough to like move your way up and be a moneymaker or something, you're just like this blue collar scraping by.
It's the same thing you were doing before, right? That's why a lot of people get into that life of crime because they want to make more money. And then it turns out that most of the time they just end up doing everybody's dirty work in their jail cover, right? Again, going back to Rocco's character in the Boondock Saints, right? That's what spurs the whole thing, right? He's just use and abuse, right?
That's what I've seen docs and they say, John Gotti was always saying, keep them down and keep them hungry. And that way they won't get like big eyes to like want to overtake you or want more money or whatever.
Interesting.
And these are your own guys. So the Friends of Eddie Coyle has the most realistic, besides Heat, which is done with automatic weapons mostly, but this is done with handguns. It's the most realistic bank robbery I've ever seen on film.
Interesting.
How it's like planned out, plotted out, and then how they actually execute it is excellent.
Nice. So this is just basically putting the town to shame, is what you're saying.
Yeah, but they're two totally different movies. This is a low-key movie. It's low-key about blue-collar criminals.
Cool.
And yeah, it's and about like a little bit of rat. There's Peter Boyle's in it, who's the dad from Everybody Loves Raymond, a young Peter Boyle, who was in Taxi Driver and other things around those times. Very good actor.
He's a good actor.
It's got some really cool stuff. So the Friends of Eddie Coyle, once I saw it, that movie kind of blew me away. I don't know if you know the filmmaker Andrew Dominic, but I think I was watching his movies at the time. Chopper. Seen Chopper or Killing Them Softly with Brad Pitt. Andrew Dominic, I'm a big fan of him.
Interesting. Yeah, okay.
He mentioned somewhere the Friends of Eddie Coyle, and years ago I was like, what's this movie? And I finally checked out and I was like, wow, really good.
That's pretty cool. And Chopper's with Eric Bana, right? About the Australian guy?
So good. Oh, so good.
Eric Chopper Reed, I think is the actual guy's name. But yeah, so
great movie. Love how it ends. Love every part of it.
I have so many movies boxed here that we've been talking about, which is hilarious.
Yeah, the Friends of Eddie Coyle, very cool.
Sweet.
Different ending too. A lot of these movies you've been picking have like bold endings, so not run of the mill. The Friends of Eddie Coyle, because it's like not everyone who is your friend in that life. It's not really your friend. That's why it's an interesting title.
What's a friend, right? It's a juxtaposition, right? I like it. Sweet.
No, you're number two.
Well, number 2 is Boondock.
So we're moving on.
So
all right,
we're on number 1, and we're on the last wing. Actually, we're on the
we're on the last wings. Hot Pursuit, the last
Hot
sauce.
Pursuit.
This one, I love the cover. This guy getting away from the cops with a gun in the air.
Yep.
And we know it's going to be.
Did you notice on the on hanging off his rear view mirror is the sauce squatch?
The sauce squatch. I just noticed now that you say that.
Nice little tie. I can only assume that the canine from the canine bottles is in one of those cars chasing as well too. So.
Exactly.
Nice storytelling on the hot sauce.
Yeah, it comes full narrative there. He smuggled some hot sauce, and this one looks like it's going to be pretty hot. It's quite up there.
We got Reaper. We got Reapers and habaneros here too. So this one's probably going to kick like a mule a little bit.
Yeah.
But I love it. Now Carolina Reapers, you're going to notice Reapers have a really they're very fruity. They have a fruity kind of flavor to them. So
this one's going to be deadly.
Yeah, this one looks to have a little bit of oil in it too. Is it oil?
It's a thin one.
No.
I think the thickest Caribbean Affair and Life Support, I think we're definitely the thickest.
Yep. This one you were talking about the other one. This one kind of looks almost like chicken ball sauce.
It's very bright red. Very bright.
I love it though. But you know what? It tells you in for trouble.
Yeah, it just smells and seems like a very authentic hot sauce. I think we're in trouble on this one.
Pretty pungent. Definitely lots of garlic. Tons of garlic, there's beet powder in there, beetroot powder, which is interesting.
All right. Is this our number 1?
Yeah.
I bet you we're going to be tied on our number 1 movie.
You think so? Somehow I don't think we are.
Oh.
So good. Oh man.
You can feel the heat right away on this one. Woo!
So good.
Woo! I'm turning beet red now. Woo!
Ha
ha!
I'm about to think about this second one for a minute.
Go ahead.
Sweat.
What's your number 1?
Number 1, Good Will Hunting.
Same here. I told you we were going to have the same. I knew it. You know what? It's one of the ultimate Boston, and it's got heart, and like Robin Williams, and it's got heart, man.
Mm-hmm.
And it's one movie where I don't mind. Oh yeah, Hot Pursuit is pretty hot, maybe.
Pretty hot.
It's one movie where I don't mind the romantic interest. For one, I think she's great. I actually worked with her on a movie in Perry Sound. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, called Stage Fright. With Meatloaf. Yeah, this is. Yeah, you're right about the second one.
It's pretty hot, man.
It's a good hot.
It's a good tasting sauce, though, too.
What were we talking about? Good Will Hunting.
Driver and Perry Sound.
Good Will Hunting. The heart. I love all the speeches. Robin Williams. So good in that with his.
This sauce is awesomely hot.
This
like,
one
my
is
eyes
hot.
are sweating.
Yeah, look at me go. I'm fucking sweating here. And you normally don't get hit too hard. And you can see the sweat showing on my face and everything. This one's good. This one's taking me over.
I'm finding it's not hard to speak, but I don't want to because I don't want to let any air in.
Exactly. The more you speak, the hotter it gets. But we got to talk about Good Will Hunting. I love. So there's so many times where like Robin Williams knocks down Matt Damon. He's like, "You think you know me because of a fucking painting or something?"
Yeah.
But then when he tells that story about his wife and the ball game and how he's like, "Well, how'd the ball game?" He's like, "I don't know. I left." He's like, "You left the greatest game."
Yep.
I just think about a girl.
Because
things like that when they don't push the romance and bullshit on you and it comes naturally the way it could in real life. I'm in. You know, like who doesn't like some heart?
But also, what I like about it too is there's nothing that says in the end that he gets together with Minnie Driver.
Right. He's just going. You know he's going and he's gonna give it a shot.
He's getting out of Boston to find himself, to like find his true purpose. That's what you think. Like, but it's awesome. The funny thing is, up until that point, because the movie was made in 1997, late 97, I think, Boston hadn't won the World Series at that point, right? They only won it in 2004. So there was that whole like, all right, well, this didn't age well because they already won the, you know what I mean? Like, it's just different in a way. Like, I always found it when I was like, well, they won the World Series, so it kind of takes the sting off that part. But if you put yourself back into that, like that Carlton Fisk off the foul pole, that home run is like iconic. But what a good way to tie something like iconically Boston into an iconically Boston movie, right? Like,
What else? Stellan Skarsgård, very good in that as well. So
the whole scene, I love the scene in the diner when they're talking with the bartender and they were like, I don't even know. He's like, "Hey, Mill, who's Ted Kaczynski? Unabomber," and just puts that like, you know, emphasis on it when he tries to tell that big story about whoever, and then he tells him, you know, the whole true story about Ted Kaczynski and everything. It's so, I don't know, man. I find Robin Williams to be really cool in that movie. Like, he seemed like a really cool person and a cool, like,
prof or whatever,
Yeah, like,
therapist,
he was
whatever.
a cool person.
Down to earth guy. Guy. Someone you can really share some shit with. That's why it works so perfect.
Yep.
And it was funny.
I feel like we know a Matt Damon, we know a Ben Affleck, we know Casey, like we know those guys, like we know people, right? We felt like those people as well too, right? Everybody's had a low moment. We've been down in the dumps. I'm really like I'm leaking really bad here. But everybody's been down in the dumps and they felt like they identified with those characters in the movie. So that's what kind of like propels it into the upper echelon for me.
And when he shows up at the end, when Ben Affleck shows up at the end, he's gone. That's a nice moment because he told him, they prefaced it earlier. They set it up earlier. He's like, "I want you to not be there," blah, blah. But also the friendships, those guys, I understand fighting is a big part of like Boston culture or whatever. I think to some extent, but like those guys were actually good friends and like looked out for each other. Not just the fighting, but bought Matt Damon the car and like, you know, you can rip on your buddies as much as you want, but like you still care about your buddies.
Exactly. And that's the whole thing. And that's where the movie has heart too, right? Like there's the heart in the love story and the whole, that side of things. And then there's the heart between Matt Damon and his friends. And then how Matt Damon like kind of just comes full circle between like the love between him and Robin Williams in the movie, right? That whole sort of relationship that they have as doctor-patient in a way turns into a friendship that like ultimately really made Matt Damon who he was supposed to be, you know? And You don't know anything. We don't know anything about what happens in the end. We don't know where he's going. We don't know who he's going to see. We don't know if he's going to school. We don't know anything, but there's that like hint of optimism as they're driving down and the credits start. And you're like, yeah, man.
And a lot of movies will end that way. It's kind of a quintessential way to end a movie is a car driving off into the sun. It's much like a horse riding off into the sunset. It's that kind of old thing too.
Dazed and Confused, right? That's all that.
Exactly. And when it's done well, it works perfect. You know, other times I see it in movies and I'm like, just a way to end a movie or whatever. But
easy way to get out.
If there's a story weaved into it to make sense.
Yeah.
Dazed and Confused, they're going to the concert. Good Will Hunting, there's like 3 or 4 things he could be going for.
Exactly. So it's a good vehicle to end the movie, right? I like it. I don't know, man. That Hot Pursuit was honestly, I was way hotter than I thought it was going to be.
Really hot. But hotter. The flavor is still right there with all. Yeah.
I found it to be quite sweet. But a lot of them, and I kind of all the way across the board, lots of garlic. Garlic on this end, and then lots of ginger on this side, right? Heavy ginger influence here. And then we start to get into like on the garlic side of things as well too. And that they all worked in their own way in a different way. But I don't know. Do you want to give a favorite? What do you think? What would you like hang your hat on?
Well, if we're talking heat, the Hot Pursuit gets you. The Hot Pursuit gets you. And I'd be interested. This is only 4 out of 5 heat levels. I wonder what's
a 5 out of 5.
Yeah. Because this really hit us hard. And like I mentioned before, I think it can hit you harder on different days because I had the life support before. I was like, this is great. It tastes great. Yep. It's a little bit spicy, not that much. Just the other day I messaged you. I'm like, I had a dip of life support. My tongue is burning. So I think there's some variation in there.
And it all depends too on what you've eaten before too. If you've eaten certain things and you're
it's true. Like, I mean, we just had a gauntlet of hot sauce here the other day when I just had life support, you know?
Yeah. Oh. So I'll be interested to go back to these, but would be an awesome, this is like one of the hotter sauces that I've had. Like this is one of the hottest that I've had in the last little while.
Yeah. And you love your hot sauce. So that's saying something.
It's so good. You know what it tastes like? It tastes like almost like a Louisiana Tabasco kind of taste sauce with that real hit of vinegar, like vinegary and garlicky, like boom, boom. And then you get that heat. But the heat didn't come for about 10 seconds, right? So you got to enjoy that taste and then you got the heat. But now that it's dissipated, I'm looking at it and something keeps going to me like, I think I want to go back to this one again. I'm going to go back. It is really good. It is really good, even though how hot it is. Favorite, probably either Hot Pursuit or K9 on this end. And I love them all.
Which K9?
K9 Bite. I like K9 Bite, I think, more than regular K9. But I think on an everyday level for me, like something that I would like lean to like crazy would be K9 down here or the Caribbean Affair. The Caribbean Affair was awesome. Caribbean Affair, I love. I think that's my favorite. I actually really like the Life Sport. I'm a fan of the Life Sport. You can put it. It's good. It's got good. That taste. You can put it on a bunch of stuff. Yeah. And this is the thing. We're splitting hairs about 6 really good sauces. Regardless, all good, cleaned wings. And you know what? I'm going to take this. I want to show my board. It's kind of like a little piece of artwork here. It's excellent. I've got kind of a mishmash going on here. Starting from... we got the Life Support starting here and then going this way. Oh, no, love it. Mine kind of looks like I can't remember the actual name for them, but it looks like I'm at a psychiatrist's office looking at an ink blot. Rorschach test, yeah. It does look like a Rorschach test. It's about that I went mental right about here. Let's talk about our honorable mentions. There's only one that we haven't got to on my honorable mentions list that we didn't get to, and it's probably on yours as well too, and that was The Verdict. Here's the thing, it's not on mine. I did see it in some of my scrolling. I've actually never seen it, I don't think. And I love Paul Newman. You know, who doesn't love Paul Newman? But I don't think I ever saw The Verdict. So it's kind of the movie that gets him ready to play Fast Eddie Felsen. Right? Like, it's the movie that gets him... He did that first in the 60s. Well, technically, yes, but that version of sort of the version of Fast Eddie in that age. If this is kind of the role that for me kind of sets him up to do that, like, because, you know, he's a lawyer, but he's unhinged a little bit, right? is unhinged a little bit. He's got that sort of like darkness element to him. Fast Eddie, like, 25 years later, hasn't really had the greatest of experiences. Neither has he in The Verdict, and it just all comes together, right? Like, I think it's one of the top 10 legal movies for me of all time. But again, I put My Cousin Vinny at the top of that list, but that's just me.
Yeah, I did too. I did legal movies. I like The Firm is probably one of my favorites.
Yeah, I didn't mention The Firm because I know you have a soft spot for it, so I just left it. Anyway,
soft spot. I mean, it's directed by Sidney Pollack. It's got Tom Cruise. It's amazing.
It is amazing. But what do you have on your honorables? I'm interested.
Okay, obviously I had The Town. I had The Fighter. We could maybe talk about The Fighter a little. You only brought it up for a second.
Yeah.
I had Mystic River, Gone Baby Gone, Boondock Saints, Spotlight. I considered it. It's a well done, well done political news piece movie. I like it.
Yeah, absolutely. Topical, good movie, well acted. It was well directed too.
Great acted. Yeah. Next, Shutter Island was in there.
Yep.
Patriots Day. It was. Here's one. Here's one you might not know. It's called The Brink's Job. It's with Peter Falk, and it's about they rob. It's in Boston. They rob one of those.
A Brinks truck.
Yeah, it's okay. It's okay. It's from the 70s or whatever.
It's got Peter Falk, so it probably is all right.
It has some other people too. It's one of those ones that's like, okay. There's one I wrote down I never saw, but it's another kind of like Spotlight, but before, from the 70s. It's called Between the Lines. Okay. It's another newspaper movie.
All right.
And then basically one of my big ones that didn't make the list was Stronger with Jake Gyllenhaal, about the guy who loses his legs in the Boston bombing.
Yeah.
And it's directed by David Gordon Green, I'm pretty sure, who does like Pineapple Express and does all the stuff with on HBO and really good stuff with Danny McBride. And I love the way they handle it because his legs get blown up and like the rest of the movie isn't about like how great he is. It's actually like how much of an asshole he turns into, because anyone who went through like something that traumatic, especially the way Boston people are kind of cultured with their complaining and pissed off and how they can really talk about everything. And so he's just like losing it on his family all the time. And then they're cutting to scenes which were also real scenes about getting pushed into the Boston Garden for a Bruins game and being on the ice. And like moments before he was just like berating his family and stuff or whatever. And like here he is being let out as a hero. And so it's like it really tackles some heavy stuff, but they like don't force feed you bullshit. It's not your typical Hollywood success survivor story. Oh my God, are you using your Boston mug?
No.
Oh, it looked like it.
No, it does look like a Boston. It's not a BP schooner, but it is a schooner from somewhere.
To be named later.
It's a scooter. It's from somewhere.
It's a scooter.
It's from here.
So that was about it. The Fighter, obviously, I really love. Really love the director of those movies. His name is escaping me. David O. Russell. I love like almost all his movies. Silver Linings Playbook, Three Kings, American Hustle, The Fighter. I really like his movies.
Interesting with that and Three Kings. Another movie where I actually like Wahlberg in it is Three Kings.
That's true. I really like that.
David O. Russell just brings out the best in Mark Wahlberg.
He could.
Maybe though, right? But
that's just a very good directors can bring out the best in mediocre actors.
100%. Man, I and Happy Gilmore, right? We covered that one. Yeah, that's right. It. I don't know, man. I honestly, this whole smattering of sauces has been awesome. This company, Hero Flavor Factory, like honestly, and I'm sure we're gonna say it and we've said it a million times, but thanks to them for sending these to us and us, wow, I just picked it out of the blue, right? It was just out of the blue and look what happened. Here we are reviewing all their sauces, which are absolutely delicious. I don't know if anybody can be declared a winner here. Do we have a winner?
Might have to call, what do they call it? A draw or disqualification? A no contest. A no contest.
A no contest.
Someone used a chair. Someone used an illegal something that they weren't supposed to use, and they called it. Do you remember when they did that on the big matches? That the title was on the line, and they just kind of copped out.
Well, a belt can't change hands on disqualification, right? So if
Yeah.
you've got yourself disqualified by hitting the ref or doing something like that or getting counted out, the belt didn't change hands. Classic heel move to get yourself counted out. Owen Hart always used to do that. He'd roll under the bottom rope and he'd be walking to the back, be like, get out, and then walking away.
I love when they give up. I love when they give up. They go like this, and then they start walking away, and then the guy goes chasing after them.
Meanwhile, the ref's on 8 in the ring. He's got to get all the way to the apron and back, and somehow the ref's like, I'm done counting now. There's no great writing, but yeah, we'll call it. The belt did not change hands. There was
No contest.
no contest, and we'll just have to get some more insane sauces. But this was delicious and a lot of fun. So thanks for having me on again.
Yeah, this is great. Thanks for being here, and thanks to European Flavor Factory. Flavor Factory is right in the name. There's a lot of flavor in here going on. Every bite, every sauce has its own unique flavor. So that was a lot of fun, and we appreciate them doing this.
Yeah, I will say it's in the name and it's in the heart of the sauce too. So it was awesome.
Awesome. Okay, well, I think that's everything. That's King of the Wing. That's our St. Paddy's Day episode.
Absolutely.
I mean, things got extra messy in surgery here. Johnny Millennial versus, I better get some skin face action going here to sign off. Can't hear you, 1 second.
I didn't say anything, I'm laughing too much.
Oh, you think the no contest can save you this time, Johnny Millennial? But next time, Skinface is gonna get the upper hand. When I deliver my Botox bomb.
So good. It's so
Okay, so that concludes our show. And that's King of the Wing, St. Paddy's Day special. King of the Wing, St. Paddy's Day special. Thanks for staying tuned. And we want to thank everyone who helped us out to make this episode possible. And that's our sponsor, European Flavor Factory. And you can see them at flavorfactory.ca, as well as Russell, who made all the video graphics and everything. We couldn't do it without Russell. And as well, my boy Zuke. Zuke, as always, came through again. And we had another great time, and we hope you did too. And as always, my fucking neighbors.